Stillness isn't emptiness. It's God without interruption. Welcome to Energy Alignment for Entrepreneurs, where we help driven people create peace without losing their edge. 3 things you'll discover today. How to hear what's beyond thought. Why presence often feels uncomfortable initially. And what to do when you mistake stillness for stagnation. Interesting. Let's start with the quote. Stillness isn't emptiness. It's God without interruption. Now, God without interruption. What a phrase. But the stillness of life is in your relationship to the noticing. If you do not have space or stillness, how can you notice what is beyond the default, which is noise? We think and we think and we think, right? Whether it be for business, for relationships, for travel, the list goes on. We have to think. There's nothing wrong with it. But stillness has nothing to do with thought. Stillness and God are not in thought. So of course, I'm saying thinking isn't bad. It's necessary. We need it. But that's not where you find God. Now, right, then you see people, they try to meditate. They try to discipline their mind to be still, to find God. But isn't that the trap? Where did the effort come from? Thought, right? Your sense of self, your ego, your me, your I had an intention or a motive to meditate for a reward. Maybe you don't use the terminology reward, but that's the processee which is functioning beneath the surface. So where does God come into your life? He, she, the essence of creation enters your life when you show it that you're ready to meet, that you're ready for communion, that you're ready to be an instrument for humanity's expansion. How do you do such a thing? What a question, yeah? We go and we look at the word by word relationship between you have thought, you have memory, you have time, you have language, right? Humans operate with those fundamentals primarily. And you cannot have stillness if you're caught in a whirlwind of egotistical importance, seriousness. I need to get this job. I need to get this lady. I need to get this money, for example. Right? But how do you create a life where you have a great job, a beautiful, loving family, lady, partnership, relationship, et cetera, et cetera? How do you get the things that you oh so deeply desire through God, not through force, right? Through noticing how you behave. You notice what you create. You notice what you put out into the world, and you have compassion. Why do you have compassion? Why? Well, if you feel so deeply, if you are sensitive, if you are honest, you realize in a moment's notice that you are the world and the world is you, that you are another. Even though their ego is not your ego, deep within, you wake up to see that you are another. And in that moment, it recalibrates how you live your life. To create that moment, you have to show God, show yourself that you're worthy, that you're really, I'm going to use serious in a different context here, that you're really serious about being a child who creates light for those who don't see it in themselves. This is your duty. If you resonate, if you hear what I'm saying, I didn't choose it. It came to me. How did it come to me? Well, I listened to my heart. Listen to your heart. How do you listen to your heart? You get clear on what isn't the truth. So you study the workings of thought, right? Where does thought come from? The ego, the sense of self. What's the ego's fundamental pattern? Self-preservation. So can you live a life where you take care of yourself to a degree that you're ready to just give, that you're ready to share, that you shine? You gotta be selfish to then be selfless. Then if it doesn't work that way, you turn into a phony, a guru, a land of the fake. You know, a saint who isn't really a saint who just likes the label, the attention, but isn't actually living it. So, 3 things you'll discover today. That's the quote for you. 6 minutes? Cool. How to hear what's beyond thought. We don't seek what's beyond thought. We observe our energy energy. You change your relationship to this world when you realize you're creating the world moment by moment. You start to notice your thinking patterns, your unconscious loops start to be conscious. Then there isn't anything that's unconscious, you're aware. Sometimes you can't force change. Sometimes you have a conflict that you're attached to, you're aware you're attached to it, and you just have to go through it and go through it and go through it. Have grace for yourself. Understand that this will come to an end. And do your best to make micro shifts while you can. Because, you know, Marcus Aurelius says something like, don't burden yourself by imagining your entire life at once. And he's so hitting the nail on the head. Because to go into the future, to imagine all this stuff, it's not actual, it's not real. It's a false reality created via past memory, knowledge, and thought. Those are the 3 pillars which really knowledge, memory, and experience. They dance together. They're like a trio. That's what creates your sense of self, though. Can you see through your sense of self even though you're in the vessel, even though you're in the body? Because if you can notice your own conflicts, frictions, things that you hold on to, ambitions, desires, insecurities, fears, jealousies, all of these emotions that get trapped within you, because no one really teaches individuals how to let go as things arise. That's what I'm talking about here, though. And I can't teach you how to do it. But through listening, maybe you can do it. And once you start to do it, then you just do it. You know what I mean? You just do it. So this is the type of thing, it's too beautiful to break into a step-by-step process. But what I can tell you is you don't create truth in your life by seeking truth. You create truth by looking honestly, deeply, unraveling your own confusion, your own realities, which are not actual. Reality equals false. Actuality equals real. I'm just using terminology because what else can I do? I have to be precise and nuanced to get to the essence, which is showing how to read between the lines. But when humanity wakes up to read between the lines, each individual does this work. The world will absolutely, it'll be a revelation. It'll be brand new. Reincarnated. Reincarnated. So why presence often feels uncomfortable at first. Presence is like a lightning bolt that hits you when you obviously no one wants to get hit by lightning. But sometimes I kind of notice myself thinking, I'm like, well, I mean, what could happen? So maybe I don't mind if I get hit by lightning. Besides my own intricacies, let's look at this. Why presence often feels uncomfortable at first. Because it kind of shocks you. You know, it gets so deep, so raw, so real instantly. Hence light speed, hence lightning. You see, it may be wordplay, but it's right in front of you. Like, I didn't make up the words are there, then you just decipher. And you start to see, oh man, this whole thing is so much more connected, intricate than You could even like think. Like I'm thinking consciously to communicate right now. Obviously, my brain is working in a way where I understand the English language and I'm speaking to you, but I'm not thinking about what words I'm going to say next. Sure, I have a plan in terms of three things. I have three lines written down that we're going to talk about, but I'm not all pre planned, which means I'm void of thought in relationship to actually diving into these points, which then creates the space to see this dude speaking. This speaker has no idea what he's going to say next. No clue, nor do I don't want that sort of weight of tension, of force, of effort. You see, the beauty of life will enter your realm when you realize that you are who you need to be and you don't have to try to be anything else. There isn't a becoming, because a becoming implies time and thought. What creates who you become is the moments which are unbound by time and thought. These moments right now, tick, 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 as you listen. As you listen right now, can you watch your mind? Can you watch your being? Can you feel your energy? Heart, mind, gut. Can you feel what's going through you as you listen? Because I'm not I'm channeling. Like, no, that's all weird language. I'm just living a simple life, doing my absolute best. And what more can you do? But there are levels to this, right? Some people's best is just living solely in time and thought. That's not really their best, if I'm going to be honest with you. They may say it's their best, but I guess the point here is that you do need to go into the darkest part of the forest. You do need to sit alone. You do need to create boundaries and make tough decisions, have hard conversations. Because the doing of what your mind resists is going to further and deepen your relationship to the moments of when you notice resistance. If you don't go and shoot and feel your own weakness, then how can you ever know what's true? The truth is unraveled. The truth is brought up into this world through going down to the roots of the depths. There's no other way. To go to the depths of your own being is to sit with stillness. That doesn't mean you sit physically still all the time. No, you have to move. You move, and that movement shows you where you're reacting. You watch the nature of your reactions and you learn about your being through understanding your ego. You're not just the ego, you're not just the being. The being created the ego, but you're still the ego. You're also still the being. You gotta get good at not identifying with labels, with reactions, because you're still gonna get triggered. There's nothing wrong with having things from your past that you're aware of get triggered. What's wrong is acting out of unawareness, not paying attention to what is moving internally. If you pay attention to what's moving internally, then this is where presence starts to get not uncomfortable. You start to realize that familiarity is hell and being uncomfortable is freedom. Being uncomfortable means that you're uncertain. Being strong enough to be uncertain yet still walk with the lantern means that you have courage. When you have courage, you show God, you literally directly communicate to Source that you're ready. And as you continuously act with courage, day by day, moment by moment, you look at your own weakness, you unravel, your life changes. You change. Your energy is reborn. You are incarnated. Not in a new body, but here. Here. And then you do your work. You do your work for this world, for humanity. If you hear me, you hear me. If you don't hear me, well, you probably left the video, right? I would imagine. And if you're still listening, then hey, maybe you're just having fun. Maybe you're just having fun, right? Because business is a spiritual pathway. This conversation is a spiritual pathway. Playing with a dog is a spiritual pathway. Everything in life can bring you to the depths. And when you go to the depths and you pay attention, you just get refueled. And as you live refueled, it's like the being can't help but awaken. But it takes a certain responsibility and awareness of the fact that you're sensitive. You see, this thing, it feels like a curse. And it is until you juice it, until you catch on to the curse's nature. Because, right? There's a lot of double-sided coins, double-edged blades in this world. Your curses are your greatest strengths. But you gotta be strong, open to sit with the pain which the curse creates. Your pain, there's a Chinese proverb or some proverb, and it says, pain is your greatest teacher, but no one shows up to his classes. Yeah. Everyone wants to just listen to music, to go hang out with people, to turn on some short form. This, though, I'm going to bring up your pain because it's one of the core pillars in which I speak on. So it shouldn't be easy to listen to these videos. You know what it really is, though? It's work. What I'm sharing with you is the work that I'm doing actively. I haven't learned anything. I'm not done doing work, and I'll never be done. And I'll never learn something. Maybe you hear me every once in a while. I might slip up and use the past tense, but I'm being quite real with you. This is why I say there's no becoming. It's now. What you do right now is what you create, and you are the creator. You don't need to believe me. I'm a bit charged. Hey, I don't feel bad. Now, what to do when you mistake stillness for stagnation? Interesting. You see, I would say it's almost hard if you're genuinely honest. You can feel when you're stagnant. Stillness has an essence of being new. Every time you're still, there's a newness to it. If there's one thing in this world that is never the same, it would be stillness. It would be clarity. You just feel it. The content of the clarity could always be different. There's a million different things you could have clarity around. The structure of clarity will always be the same. It'll be that you're taking time to pay attention. Yeah, real profound, right? Whoever told you that before? Pay attention. I remember teachers, pay attention. Yeah, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about genuine attention and relationship to your being. Genuine attention in relationship to the energy that radiates and runs through your vessel. So to mistake stillness for stagnation, you gotta be in a belief system, a worldview, or a way of operating which is unhealthy. Meaning that your mind has gotten so tricky. It's so deep into a mechanistic cycle that the mind, this is the tricky part, the mind will actually try, and this is where I say the fruit is in noticing your own bullshit, your own lies, your own illusions, your false realities, because the mind can be fantastic at it's almost like the head honcho of the circus. Your mind is running the circus, and you got to get good at noticing when that circus needs to be shut down, when that circus needs to be questioned. Like, if you're easily offendable, if you play the victim, if you think self-pity, if you create images as in you're helpless, as in there's nothing to do, you got to sit with that pain. Stop trying to talk yourself out of pain. You can't think yourself out of overthinking. Sometimes you have to move. Go for a walk, notice what you're feeling. Eat food, be aware of the relationship between input and change in vessel. There's so much that we could talk about here. I'm going to talk on this until I'm gone, promise you. The podcasts keep getting longer. I had a portion in the past, like when I started the podcast in 2022, they used to be 40-minute episodes. And hey, I'm just starting to get a little bit rowdy again. I think I have a lot to say. I didn't choose that though. Um, Hopefully you enjoy this. I know someone does. I know you do. You're still listening. I know you enjoy this. And yeah, I'm not doing the recap. We're 21 minutes. Like, hey, what can I say? Honestly, though, the summary, I appreciate you. I thank you for listening. Keep doing the work. Keep showing up. Listen to these videos. Understand, I'm not your authority. I don't know anything more than you do. You have the power. You have the strength. You are the creator. Now embody it. Be the man or the woman that you need to be for everyone whom you come across, whether they're homeless, whether that's your husband, whether it's your daughter or your grandma. Be who they need you to be. This isn't about fitting in. This isn't about people pleasing. This is about feeling the energy and having compassion. And when you live a life of compassion and true love, come on, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? You write about it because we know what's going to happen. Come on. Come on. Thank you so much. If you're interested, if you would like to work one on one, create a great physique, go into the depths of your interpersonal relationships, understand your own patterns, habits, anything that I talk about in these videos. If you would like to work one on one, just check the link below. I don't have too many slots and I really don't have too much free time. So it'll be a few people that I'm open to working with. But still, shoot your shot. Check down below. Share it with a friend if you know someone who needs to hear this, who would resonate deeply with this sort of content. And hey, have a good one. Sincerely. Let's go. Speak soon.